To the uninitiated, rugby may seem at first glance to be a chaotic and dangerous sport. After all, it looks similar to American football, but yet players don't wear any pads or helmets. So do rugby players have some kind of crazy death wish? Or is there something else going on that draws people to the sport? In this video, we'll hear from some of the dual sport athletes at Oceanside Collegiate Academy who also play rugby to get their perspectives on the sport. We posed a series of questions to them to understand what other sports they play, how rugby compares to those sports, their thoughts on the rugby culture, and we asked them to provide some advice to those who may be unsure or even scared of trying rugby. So let's hear what they have to say.
I play football and I play defensive tackle and left tackle.
I play softball and I play third base.
I play football and running back and linebacker.
Lacrosse.
And what position do you play in lacrosse?
Defense.
So I currently play football and I also run track. I'm a quarterback and I also run short distance.
We both play basketball and soccer. And for basketball, I'm the shooting guard, and for soccer, I play the wing.
For basketball, I'm the point guard, and for soccer, I'm a forward.
So before I joined the rugby team for the rugby season, I played football, and I played linebacker for Oceanside, and I started.
Don't think for a minute that if you play rugby, then you won't be able to play your other sports. Rugby's played in the winter in South Carolina, and so has minimal overlap with other sports. Even if there is overlap, take basketball for example, rugby only practices twice a week in the evenings for 2 hours, so you can easily still have time for your other sport if there's a conflict. If you're a footballer who plays defense or a lacrosse defensive player, then this next chapter is for you. Check this out.
Well, in football, 0 times, maybe 1 if I'm lucky. But in rugby, I get it almost every play, so it's great.
Did you not get the award for the most tries this season?
I did.
Yes, you did. Well done.
So in my whole high school career of football, I've only touched the ball twice, and when I touched the ball twice, I scored a touchdown. So I rarely ever touched the ball. It would be a miracle if I touched the ball. But in rugby, I had the ball in my hands almost every single play, and on offense when we were attacking, and it's just the ball came to me and then I pass it, or I would make a run, or I'd kick it. Either way, I would touch the ball almost 100 times every game, and it was so much fun.
If you're a footballer who never gets to touch the ball and are hungry to see what you're capable of with ball in hand, then you will love rugby. This clip starts in what we call open play, which is where a team can continue advancing without stoppage up the field by passing and carrying the ball as long as they don't lose the ball forward in contact. The first receiver here is actually a football defenseman who makes a great catch and an equally great pass. The ball is passed 3 times before it gets into the hands of yet another football defensive player who starts out by making a great catch from a poor pass and then just accelerates into the space to eventually score. Both of these football defensemen are actually attacking players at heart who never get to carry the ball in football. But in rugby, they have dozens of opportunities to not only carry the ball in every single game, but also to score. Just like all players on a rugby field, they must also have the awareness of when to pass a ball versus when to carry it if someone else is in a better position to attack. This type of open, flowing style is what rugby is all about. It's not the stop-start affair that makes up a typical football game. You can bet that by playing rugby, any athlete will become better at their other sports because of the overall skill level that builds up while learning and playing such a dynamic game. Here are some more examples of a football defensive player in action. You're looking at another defensive guy who never gets to carry the ball in football, just steamrolling over people in rugby, and he's having a ton of fun doing it. These 2 snippets are from the same game, only a few minutes apart. So this guy got 2 carries within a few minutes of each other. This happens every single game for every single player on the field. What are you waiting for? Whether you're a boy or a girl, irrespective of what other sport or sports you play, rugby is the ultimate team sport where you can truly express yourself as an athlete. You need to be able to catch a ball, run with a ball, pass a ball, fend people off, tackle people, be tackled, support your teammates, and do all of this without constant timeouts, without stoppages, without pads, and without helmets. Oh, and by the way, girls play by the exact same rules or laws as the boys, and they love every minute of it, win or lose. The only regret you'll ever have with rugby is the regret of not having tried it sooner in life.
In a typical lacrosse game, when you're playing defense, are you allowed to tackle and bump people over?
No, there's not really any contact at all, and they're very strict on the contact. So whenever I came to rugby, it was a big change.
And how did you enjoy the contact in rugby?
I liked it a lot because rugby's like the only sport that girls can play with full contact.
Next, we asked about some of the misconceptions that they had about rugby that they realized were false after playing the sport.
Some of the misconceptions I had was, I thought it'd be a lot more easier to get injured, and since I didn't have pads and a helmet anymore. But it's the opposite because you have better form in rugby.
Well, I definitely thought that I was going to get injured a lot because of tackling. I thought it was going to be a lot more dangerous, but it actually wasn't. And I think it was a lot easier than I actually thought.
Same. I just really thought it was going to be a lot more rough, and I would get injured easily.
Because it does look a little crazy from the outside, doesn't it? It sure does.
Yeah, I was really scared because I thought I was too small and I was going to get hurt. But I found out that was really false because I think there's a position for everyone, no matter how big or how small you are on the field. And also, I haven't gotten hurt in my 2 years of playing rugby. I've gotten hurt 3 or 4 times in football. And I haven't gotten hurt in rugby, which is really, really interesting.
I think I was worried that I was going to get hurt and I wasn't going to be able to play my other sports. But I've not gotten hurt at all, and I thought the tackling would hurt, but the tackling didn't hurt at all either. So I think it was just very overthought. And I think it's whenever you're watching, it seems a lot more intense than if you're actually in the game. And if you tackle right, then it doesn't hurt.
Absolutely.
That it was just an easy way to catch an injury, which is incorrect because I literally have had no injuries. And I think everybody was just worried, oh, you're going to get hurt, no pads, but that's not right.
It's not true. Exactly.
I've had some head injuries with football, but I've had 0 in 2 years with rugby because of the tackling forms and the rules against or laws against tackling. So I've never really had any problems with head injuries, which is probably the main concern.
So I thought before I started playing rugby, it was a very physical sport and it was a very injuring sport. But when I got into it, I realized that it was a much safer sport than football because you're more concerned about where your head placement is and not just run in there without a helmet and just headbutt people. And it really teaches you to tackle with technique and tackle efficiently. And that's something I got really good at. And it helped me not only with rugby, but with football as well.
We also wanted to find out to what extent rugby helped them in their other sports.
Well, I think for basketball, it's definitely helped with my aggression on the court. I feel like I dive for loose balls a lot more. It's also helped with the fitness part. It's helped me get more into shape and just get down and back on the court easier.
Josie?
For soccer, it's definitely helped me with my strength and footwork, and just my speed getting down the field.
It's helped a lot with my endurance with running, but it's also helped with my footwork and stuff like that.
Just kind of scanning the field and seeing my opponents and seeing where I can find space and utilize that has really helped me, just kind of scanning the field like I do in football.
The rugby culture is something that makes the sport really unique, and we wanted to get their perspectives on this aspect of the sport.
Yeah, the rugby culture is very unique. It's big on respect, and it usually is, especially in the United States, is a very tight-knit group because it's not the biggest sport in the country, and it's really like a family.
Yep. And the culture is great because you can be enemies on the field at 1 second, then as soon as you step off that field, you're best friends.
That's right.
I think just the family of the team and the whole aspect of rugby and how it's all connected and how you get to meet so many people and if some team doesn't have enough players, then they'll pull people from other teams, and that team will bring you in and act as if you belong on the team too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think going to these awesome tournaments and experiencing the rugby culture, it's a big family feel, and everyone's really friendly, and it's a great environment to be in. And then just playing with my friends and brothers every week and getting the chance to go compete and have fun has been really, really cool.
Well, I think the rugby culture is like really unique because unlike other sports, you don't really talk off the field with other teams, and with rugby you are just like in the community together, and it's like friends off the field and on the field.
Exactly.
And the culture there is amazing. I could be running over some guy, I could be picking up and slamming some guy, but 2 seconds later we would be good buddies. We would hang out. Like for instance, when we played St. Joseph, we played them. It was a close match. Unfortunately, we lost, but afterwards we went to Coconut Joe's to celebrate.
If you're still unsure whether you want to try rugby or not, listen to the advice from these players.
I would just say that there's a position for everyone. Doesn't really matter the size. There's a position for if you're too small or if you think you're stronger. You always have a position.
Don't be scared, because the coaches teach you the proper way to tackle, and there's just a small risk of injury, and it's just a fun game all around, so just don't be scared.
There's a spot on the field for anybody.
Anybody, correct.
I would say just try it, because the first time I ever saw rugby people playing, I was like, man, that looks so much fun. I have to try it out.
And so I was really scared to come out because of my size, but I learned that it doesn't really matter how big or small you are. Everyone has a position on the field in rugby.
100% correct. There's a place for everyone.
I'd just say give it a try and go to a couple practices and see it, and then if you don't like it, then don't do it, but if you enjoy it, then I say give it a try.
Exactly.
Because it can have so many opportunities for you.
Don't be one of those people who let the fear of the unknown keep you from one of the most inclusive, fun, and exhilarating sports out there. Just try it, and if you don't like it, at least you won't have any regrets. In closing, I would like to thank our sponsors who make it possible for us to spread the joy of rugby to as many people as possible in our community. In particular, Joe Sarro and his team at Starling Chevrolet in Mount Pleasant. Not only are they the headline sponsor of Oceanside and Lucy Beckham's rugby programs, but they support numerous other community initiatives too. Thanks for your generosity and community spirit.